similar to what we were talking about earlier. It's just like the first thing I'll say is, okay, so I'll get them to list out all their fears, and I'll say to them, if we are, what is the cost of us not taking any action? Where might you be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? Let's get really, really clear on that. And let's think about what the physical, the emotional, the mental, the financial costs to you could be. And let's get really, really clear. And then let's think, what could be the benefit of trying? What about if we were successful in creating this change, or even had a partial success? Let's list all those benefits out. Let's get really, really clear on that. You keep doing this. This is where we think that you might be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 12 years. You make that change. Okay, this is what all the benefits could be and where you could be in 6 months, 1 year. And look how good that is. Then, okay, you're scared. I get that. So let's start. What are your fears? We'll list them out. Now let's look at the facts. Because I think whenever we're dealing with uncertainty, we need to focus on the facts. What do we know about that? And I think that's one thing I've really, really learned over the duration of my coaching, is not just to say to people, do this, but why. So why am I asking you to do that? What's the evidence? What's the facts behind that's supporting this action that I'm asking you to do? And then I think in terms of dealing with any kind of fear, it's exactly what I did with myself when I made this transition, and I do with clients. It's funny, I did it with a client recently in only one session, and now I had a catch-up call with her, and she's over in Australia. That was her fear, but we did this, and we set this fear, and we put it under the microscope, and we say, okay, what are all your fears? What are the ways, and I learned this from Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss himself has struggled with mental health, and he talks a lot about fear setting. And we say, okay, what are all the ways that we could kind of prevent these fears from happening? What could we do to stop these things from coming into occurrence? All your doubts, your what ifs, your worst case scenarios. What actions could we take? And then I say, okay, let's imagine that all of these things came true. What could we do to repair them? And suddenly, Ian, you are building yourself a strategy for change, because you're looking at what you want, the benefits, and you're looking at, these are things I need to prevent my worst case scenarios, all these things that I'm worried about from happening. And then I have a backup plan, a plan B. If the shit hits the fan, this is what I'm going to do. And I think suddenly that makes people feel in control. This gives people clarity. And actually, this gives people a really clear plan of action to kind of move forward more confidently with that change.
No, I love that. I love the Tim Ferriss approach. It's like, is it based on keto? And he would eat the
Yes.
harshest foods, wear the worst clothes and stuff, because he knew that if I've already lived life at the hardest,
Yeah.
what do I need to worry about? And I think that's the thing it is. People don't realize, we say we want to do this, but there's so many things up here that could happen. So actually writing it out and looking at it and going, okay, this is what could happen or could go wrong.
Yeah.
But what would you do if it did? Okay, I went in there and it's a crap job. Well, you can get a job back in your old hometown.
Exactly.
You could get a club, meet some friends. If you don't meet anybody in the first week, okay, I could do this, I could do that, and I could get a second job in a like a restaurant, waiting tables if I need some extra cash, and it's a way to meet people. There's so
Right.
much more to it, and I love that approach.